Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Panera Bread in Minecraft, step by step, block by block, including the interior for all of your city building needs. Let me show you what this tutorial includes. Hopefully by now we have seen the entire outside of the build. Heading inside, we have the dining area, the order counter, the kitchen, and most importantly of all, the bathroom. By the way, I was hidden somewhere in the intro of this video. This does not count. If you spotted me, leave a comment down below. The first person to find me will have their comment pinned. This is the amount of space required to make the build. I would recommend copying this grid into your world, and if you do, to find the starting position, begin at the front left hand corner of the grid, count backwards, find the 6th block, and then count to the right and find the 9th block. That is where we start. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 8 terracotta in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Place 2 lime terracotta in front. 1, 2. Extend up by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down to the ground. Then extend backwards by 1. Place a terracotta. Extend to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then backwards by 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Then we are going to extend across the back of the build and line up with where we very first started, which should be right there. Then we will start extending towards the front of the build by placing a terracotta, then a dark oak door, 2 terracotta, 1, 2, extend forwards to 1, 2, place 8 lime terracotta on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, extend right by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then extend almost all the way down to the ground, but join back to the ground with a terracotta, extend inwards by 2, 1, 2, and then simply connect all the way back to where we first started. And the floor plan for the build should look like this. Next, we are going to focus on the front of the build. Let's begin over here, where it very first started. Place a polished black stone wall, and then 2 black stained glass to the right. 1, 2. Then a polished black stone wall, 2 glass, and then a polished black stone wall. We can extend each one of those blocks up, both the walls and the glass. Then we can place a row of birch planks on top. Extend the left side up by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then extend across to the right. And then down. Fill the middle in with green concrete. Place polished black stone slabs on top of the birch planks. Then we will extend the lime terracotta backwards just 1 row. Then we will place birch planks extending up beside here, just to fill in this section of wall. We do also want to extend the entire top of the lime terracotta section backwards by 3 rows. I'll do it from the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, just like this. And then we can just fill this little top portion in. It would seem to me as we just have to extend 1 row down, kind of like this, right? Just to give us this shape, and then that should just fill in the roof nicely. We are then just going to hop onto the opposite side of the build here, where we will once again place 2 polished black stone wall, 1, 2, extending up from this corner, 2 black stained glass pane extending left, and then just another row of polished black stone wool. And then once again, we are just going to place some birch planks extending up like this to fill in this gap with some lime terracotta just in front of it. We can then just pretty much just place birch planks on top of the window, extending up as high as the birch planks that we just have to the left. It should in total be 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can stick some polished blackstone slabs on top, just like this. When it comes to the actual entrance itself, we will place 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, of polished blackstone wall here, 1, 2, 3 here. We'll stick a row of black stained glass pane on either left or right, it doesn't really matter at all. Then we will place polished blackstone slabs like this, kind of across the top of the front of the entrance like so, and then we'll just extend it 1 row outwards. We are then able to place some lime terracotta, just filling above this in, just like so. Then we are just going to hop inside a second and see how it looks from the inside. I think that the best course of action here is just to use birch planks across the top of the door and then just fill above the door in using birch planks, and that'll smooth out that wall nicely. Right, let's take a little look outside now. I think it's about this time that we can start removing the floor. So, starting from the front left-hand corner of the build here, we are just going to dig outwards to the edge of the grid, and then all the way across to the right side. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, and we can just remove this section here. So, all the grass and the grid, kind of just from the immediate front of the building. And that will look like this. So we are going to add some smooth stone. We want to have smooth stone extending all the way forwards, just leaving a gap of 1 at the front here, and we will just fill everything else in. So we'll just extend all the way across like this. Then from the left of the entrance here, we will add a row of smooth stone extending across to the right, and then we will fill this in with podzol. So I'm considering whether to have the podzol end here, just like lining up with this window, or whether to take it 1 row further. The only reason to do this is that, and I may as well do it now because it makes more sense to do it now even though I don't really want to. On the left here, extending towards the drive-through window, we will have a path like this, and then we will extend the smooth stone path here, leaving this gap, which we will fill in with podzol, and then ferns. Oh, by the way, we also want to add ferns to the podzol. So I think that that's a bit of a cleaner look, or the podzol will end here and then it's kind of just not quite as clean, so. Next, we are going to make some tables and chairs by placing a polished blackstone stair here, leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, place another here. We will then place end rods and another polished blackstone stair in front of those stairs with spruce pressure plates on top of the end rods. We then want to make a lamppost here by placing 2 spruce vents on top of each other, lantern on top, and then we will clad the lantern with spruce signs. Very, 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 very simple design here. We want to have the exact same thing all the way across here. So, not in terms of the chairs, although we could add a little table actually. But here on this corner, we want to add the same lamp post. Not that. We want to have the same lamppost design that we have all the way over there. And if you did want to, maybe it is a good opportunity for like a double table or something like that. We don't even have to add anything onto the opposite side. We could just leave it like that if we wanted to. Next, we are just going to move on to the left side of the build, where we will begin by placing 2 black stained glass pane left of the wall here, 1, 2, and then another wall, 2 more pane, 1, 2, and then a wall. We will extend each one of these blocks just up by 1 row as usual, and then we will place a row of birch planks on top, and then on the left here, we want to place a row of green concrete, extending all the way across to the right, stick another row of green concrete on top, birch planks on top of that, and then we can just fill this little gap in here using the birch planks, like so. And let's just go over to the opposite side here, where we want to extend the birch planks up by 6 rows, or rather the terracotta, we want to place 6 rows of birch planks on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that it is even with the front of the build. And then we just want to place this on top of the terracotta, across the top of the door, drop down next to the door like this. We also want to place our polished black stone slabs on top, just like so. And then we can extend our lime terracotta rows backwards like this, just all the way up to the top. And just as with the entrance area, we want to extend them backwards by 3 rows in total. So this naturally gives us 2 rows, so 1, 2, and then we can just add a third like this. So just add 1 extra 1, so it kind of just extends into the top of the roof a little bit, and then we can drop down here and make the drive-through window. So for the drive-through window, we will connect the terracotta together at the bottom. We will place 2 polished black stone wool here and here with some black stained glass pane on this side. We will then fill above this in using the lime terracotta, just like so. And then we will add some polished black stone slabs just across the top of the window like this. And then we are just going to remove some of the grass here from in front of this door. We're going to stick a cauldron, oak trap door, flower pot here. You could even label the top of this door with something if you wanted to. What sign would be appropriate? We've been using a lot of spruce, so again, if you guys have been watching any of my tutorials, you'll know that I've been labeling doors recently, so yeah, this is a continuation of that. Next, we are going to make the sign. So the sign is a little bit interesting on this one, as we will write Panera in that green concrete section and bread in that concrete section. Throw down a limb, open it up, place a green banner in there with white dye. The first letter we will make is P, which is the pale sinister pattern. Put green dye in there, apply the Perfess inverted pattern, put white dye back in, apply Fess, pale Dexter, and then Chief. Next is A. This is pale Dexter, pale sinister, Chief, and then Fess. Next is N, which is just pale Dexter, pale sinister, bent. Next is E, which is pale Dexter, Chief, Fess, and base. Next is R. This is pale Dexter, Chief, and then bent. Next is B. This is pale Dexter, pale sinister, Chief, Fess, and base. And I do believe that this is lastly D, which is pale sinister, put green dye in there, apply the lozenge pattern, white dye in there, base, Chief, and then pale Dexter. And we can then take all of these banners, assuming that I've not missed one. It'd be embarrassing if I did, but I wouldn't be surprised. And we can apply them to our sign. So P, A, N, E, R, A, and then B, R, E, A, D. Just like this. Next, we are going to head all the way over to the right side of the build, where we will start off by placing 2 black stained glass pane, extending right, 1, 2, then a polished black stone wall, 2 glass pane, polished black stone wall. We will add another row of each of these on top. Then we are simply just going to place birch planks on top of our terracotta, raising the wall up to equal the height of the rest of the walls. We will also add the polished black stone slabs on top, just like this. And then we will come all the way down to here, leave a gap of 1 from the window, stick a note block, green carpet on top, leave a gap, and then I'm actually not sure which I prefer. Either 2 polished black stone wall next to each other like this, or to use inwards facing looms like this, and then stick some solid blocks on top of these. And then I just want to have a few paintings to kind of like resemble some sort of like fancy looking menu like this. And then to add some either dark oak trapdoors or some spruce trapdoors to the side of this, since we're kind of, I guess we're kind of going with the spruce vibe, so we'll continue this, just like that. And then across the top here, I suppose either green carpet would be appropriate, or maybe some black carpet just to contrast with the left side a little bit. I think that looks kind of cool. And now that we have done that, we are just going to grab the smooth stone, and we are going to remove a row of smooth stone from just pretty much just the entire length of the build here. I do realize that I've removed too many blocks. I'm not going to replace them since that will be the drive-through later, but we may as well also, by the way, just dig around the back and connect to the employee area like this, as at this point in time, this is pretty much the right side of the build complete. Next, we are going to get this entire back wall filled in with birch planks. If you like, we can add some windows and perhaps some other features to the back of the build a little bit later if you like. I don't really find it necessary myself, but, you know, you might. So we just raise up the birch planks as usual, and then place some polished blackstone slabs, just like this. And it wouldn't be one of my builds if there wasn't a dumpster in the form of 2 red terracottas with some form of trapdoor on top and then a flower pot off to the left. Next, we are going to begin working on the drive-through. We can start all the way over here and remove 5 rows of grass all the way around the outside of the building in kind of like a horseshoe shape. This ends up being quite a lot bigger than the usual drive-throughs. I usually only make them about 3 rows wide, but I've had some... I was going to use the word criticism, but instead I'll use the word suggestions to make them larger, so that's what I'm doing. We also have to make 5 rows at the back here. Do note that there is a little bit more space at the back. That's because we're going to have some plants along the back of the drive-through, just to make it a little bit different on each one of the 3 sides. And then we will add 5 rows along here as well. Always got to make sure that we are making the correct amount of space. And then, once we've done that, we can just fill all of this in with cyan terracotta. Although, there are some road markings to add, and we might as well actually add them now. So, the first set of road markings are placed over here. So, lining up with the lamppost, we will remove 1, 2, 3 rows like this, leave a gap, 1, 2, 3 rows like this, and we will replace those rows with white concrete. And then we can just continue placing cyan terracotta, extending all the way around to the opposite side, where we have a few more. And the other row of white concrete that we have to add kind of just spans the width of the road here, lining up with the edge of the drive-through. We can then continue adding a bit more cyan terracotta, and we are looking to, as a matter of fact, we may as well just fill the whole thing in with cyan terracotta, and all we're doing is adding the same pedestrian crossing that we have over on that side onto this side, which means we once again line up with the lampposts, and then just remove a row 3, gap, row 3, and then fill all of this in with white concrete, just like this. And then on this side of the build, we can remove the edge of the grid leading all the way up to... You know what? Let's just have one entire row of smooth stone just on the left side of the build here. And then we'll do the same on the right side of the build as well. We'll just remove the edge of the grid just all the way to the back. And we'll replace this with smooth stone. On this side too, I've added one of those like height things. So cars that are too big, or vehicles that are too big, I should say, can't like squeeze their way in here. I'm thinking we add it right about here. We just place a row of green concrete all the way across to the right, and we stick it here like this. And then at the back, we are going to add one of my personal favorites. Again, this isn't one of my builds without these. We are adding the large ferns to the remaining grass, like this, and then we are sticking spruce trapdoors directly on top of the grid here, just behind these, and then we're going to flip the... Actually, no, it would of course be easier to add spruce trapdoors on top of these. Doing a little crouch. And then we can just flip all of these up. And then I'm just going to remove behind the fence here, and I'm just adding some smooth stone, but you can, like, whatever is back here, you know what, I'd probably just leave it. We don't need a path that kind of just leads all the way around that fence. And now that we've done that, we can also add some polished black stone walls here, just kind of like along the side of the drive-through, probably all the way. So either like all the way up to this line, or maybe like just stopping one row shy of it, something like this. I think would look pretty good. You could even add more of them, but I think that that is a nice balance. Next, we are going to fill the roof in using stone, just good old regular stone. Feel free to change this to a different material if you like, but I kind of like the sort of natural vibe that we've got going on here, or at least it kind of feels that way to me. So, yeah. I don't know what you might replace it with. Maybe a concrete, perhaps? Now that we have filled the roof in, we can add a 2x2 square of block of iron all the way over here in this corner, rails on top of it, and then a hopper on top of that. And once you've done that, you have officially completed the entire outside of the build, which means it's now time to head inside and begin work on the interior. Our journey begins over here. We will start by placing 2 quartz bricks in this position. To the right of this, a dark oak door, and then 4 more bricks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 2 light grey concrete, 1, 2. Another brick, and then 2 blast furnaces, 1, 2. And then 3 bricks, 1, 2, 3. Then a dark oak door, and then quartz bricks, which we will extend up by 3, 1, 2, 3, And we can actually extend all the way across to the left as well. And down next to the door. We can fill in around this door. However, to the right here, we want to place 2 smooth quartz stairs. And then quartz bricks extending down here. Behind this area, we actually want to stack 2 rows of cyan terracotta, just up like this, with polished tough wall in this position, a brewing stand here, and a lever here. We can stack another row of blast furnaces on top of our blast furnaces, with light grey concrete on top, which will then allow us to just fill this entire wall section in using quartz bricks. And also just above this door as well. Now, uniquely, we do also want to line the walls of this room with quartz bricks, so we only have to go about 4 rows high, kind of following the wall that we have around us. And in here, we do just have to place quartz bricks just behind these blast furnaces like so. So this is kind of like the amount of space that we need in this room, not including the row of quartz bricks that we've placed here. So like we'll have a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, and a row of 3 this way. So this is what it wants to look like in here. Now, just hopping out for a second, we may as well make both the ceiling and the floors. So for the ceiling inside of the bathroom, which is what this room is, we are just going to place some smooth quartz block like this in this position. We will do the same thing for the kitchen, which is the larger, longer room next to it. Then, for the ceiling above the counter space area, we are going to use spruce planks. So the spruce planks we will place directly on top of our quartz brick wall, and we will just spread this forwards. And the goal is to just, I'm doing a very bad job of this, but the goal is to extend to here. So just 1 row in front of the lime terracotta for the drive-through, which is, again, it's here. And then we are just going to lay smooth quartz block for the rest of the ceiling. So we get this, it's quite an interesting roof slash ceiling inside here actually. I will say that the only thing I do not like, but I cannot find a reasonable fix for it, is that there is green along the inside of the walls here. I do not know how to fix it. The only thing that I kind of came up with was to either, like, I'll show you. So we could extend the ceiling down 1. So we've got 2 different ceilings, which doesn't work. You could then further extend the spruce down, but then trust me, this becomes too low. That's not really an option. You can place, like, you can just add, say, like a block in this corner, right? And then you can then use paintings, or you could like clad it with trapdoors or something like that, and then you can kind of like extend it all the way around the top of the wall. You'll have to do the same here so that it matches. That also doesn't end up looking right. So unfortunately, the best solution I found was to leave it like that. Sometimes it be that way. Right, well, next we are going to rip up the entire floor, and we'll just start with the front of the restaurant for now. We can then replace these blocks with, I've not used them for so long I forgot the name of the material, chiseled quartz block. So that's what we're going for the floor, because it felt just kind of like nice and modern-y, but not too modern. A lot of the interiors for Panera Breads, it would seem in my research, they're kind of like a nice... I think the best way that I can describe it is kind of like a nice homey, but also modern feel. So there's a nice bit of white mixed in with some earthy colours like the terracottas and the greens and such. So hopefully I managed to capture that. Nice. So we are also just going to head into the bathroom, and we will have to replace these doors as well. For the bathroom, we are also just going to use the chiseled quartz. Stick the door back on. And then when it comes to this back room here, not the back rooms, but a back room, we are also, and that one too, we also have to replace the floor. And I was going to use mud bricks, because I did notice in one of the Panera Bread kitchens, there's kind of like a floor that looks surprisingly like mud bricks, to be honest with you. But I'm not certain if it's the right choice as I'm doing it now, but I'm going to stick with it. But do feel free to just use quartz instead. And let's just stick all of the doors back on, and we can head back in there a little bit later. But now that we have done that, we can now head all the way over to here and place an additional row of 3 terracotta extending right of this block. 1, 2, 3. And then we can place lime terracotta stacked all the way up to the ceiling. We will then place a white concrete here, smooth quartz stair here, painting here, and a stone button here. We will then continue extending right of the terracotta by placing 6 oak planks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Followed by 2 oak shelves. 1, 2. Oak shelf on the end, or rather oak plank on the end of the shelf, and then extend backwards 1, 2. We are then just going to remove underneath these shelves and place oak planks. Although I am wondering whether that looks better now that I look at it. I'll let you guys decide what to do. I'm going to leave it like that for now. Then we are going to place glass pane across the top of the shelves here. Just literally, maybe we'll wrap it round a block as well. Just 1 block, something like that. Next, we are going to hop up onto this counter and place a polished blackstone stair here. Flower pot next to it. Then a cherry button here. And a pale oak button here. I don't know whether to make them place different ways, or whether to have them sideways. Let's leave them like that for now. Well, we are going to place spruce trapdoors behind these, and then we are going to create kind of a display case using spruce trapdoors. Like this. And we want to do a similar thing to the right as well. So we want to have kind of, although we'll be using some oak planks for this, some oak planks directly behind the shelves here with cakes on top. And then we are going to place some spruce trapdoors kind of like above and behind the cakes like this. I suppose we're just matching the height of this shelf here, and then we'll extend across and then flip this up, if that makes sense. So we kind of want like 2 display racks like so. And I am wondering whether to place a different material underneath the cakes, whether that could be like white concrete, or maybe lecterns quite often look good as like cake stands. Kind of like make it look a little bit interesting like this. And we are just going to add some spruce trapdoors behind here, and we'll stick some item frames on top of the trapdoors, and here as well, here and here. We are also just going to make some shelves just to the right. So this is going to be more of like a long flat shelf just off to the right of the counter space here, which we will stick item frames on as well, just like so. Now, not only that, we do also want to have some shelves on this wall. We want to have a row of 2 shelves here, or maybe 3, and then leave a gap of 1, and then a row of 2x3 shelves, just like this. Then on this wall here, I couldn't really think what to occupy this with, unless we make like a banner or something later, which we will actually be doing, or maybe just like a 1x2 painting, not that one. That one's actually fine though. We can stick some stone buttons here, and we are rapidly approaching the point in which we have to start adding things into these item frames. So maybe some biscuits inside of these item frames. You can even add some more item frames to the ground if you want, although it seems unsanitary to to keep... Oh, and there should be cakes on these ones to keep biscuits on the floor, and we can even add some more cakes back here as well. Now, for the rest of these, next we have to make some banners, not only to fill in some of these shelves, but for some other bits around the build as well. So throw down loom, open it up, black banner in there with green dye, apply both the fest pattern and the bore jaw pattern. That's it. Next banner, throw light blue banner in there with white dye, apply the bend, and then a gradient pattern, put black dye in there and apply the bourgeois pattern. That's it. Next banner, an edible banner, as I like to think about it. Place an orange banner in there with brown dye and apply the lozenge pattern. You can either leave it like that, or actually, I'm going to leave it like that. That is the entire banner. Lastly, throw a pink banner in there with some red dye and apply the lozenge pattern. Grab that, put that back in. Place white dye in there and apply the base pattern. No. Apply the Perfest inverted pattern. Grab that, put that back in. Stick brown dye in there and apply the base indented pattern. Now you can either leave the banner like this, or alternatively, of course he's forgot the pink dye. Alternatively, you can, where'd it go? Edit that out. Alright, you can put the banner in there with some pink dye and you can apply the bourgeois pattern. Now, in my opinion, that looks insane, but you could certainly do that if you wanted to. But instead, I'm going to keep this, and we are going to use these two banners specifically to fill in. This banner here is going to go in these item frames, and you can orientate this however you like. I kind of want them to face this way. These shelves here, we are going to fill just with bread. I think that hopefully it's obvious why. And then these shelves here, we are going to stick this banner in here. This could be interpreted as a different kind of bread, or maybe even some sort of donut or something like that. And then these shelves here, we are just going to stock with 3 different kinds of potions. You could go for 6 if you're feeling fancy, but I'm just not feeling that right now. Also, I'm going to stick each one of these by the entrance before I accidentally delete them like this. Next, we are going to head all the way back over to here and place a pale oak sign, preferably facing this way, which is just going to read, shall we go for bathroom or toilet? This one will be bathroom, so just directing people to the bathroom. You can stick a chain above it if you like, if you want it to hang lower, but I'm not going to do that. Then we can head all the way over to here, and above this door, I'm just going to write kitchen. Again, can you guys see? I don't even understand why I'm doing this. I'm labeling every door. I just like it. I don't know why it is. We are also going to add a spruce hanging sign, either above the cash register here or just off to the left. Let's go above the cash register, which is just going to read collection, just like this. And then we are going to place some black concrete here, probably one row even further back. Yeah, I think that's good. So extending from here to maybe just here above the cakes, I think is a nice amount. Maybe even not the cakes, maybe just here so that it sits left and right of this stand, which I think looks nice. And we can just apply some paintings just like this. So we can do that, or you can further extend across to the left. I'm going to test this and see how I like it. Then I was going to leave this out, but I kind of like the detail of it. I like the idea of placing just like a few trapdoors like this, kind of like creating a stand just behind this counter space, and having just, again, just like some sort of stand like this with some item frames stacked on this. And this can be for anything really, but maybe even it's like for like collection orders, and we can have like a chest or so just kind of like placed here. I think that it's a nice little addition. Maybe we could even have a painting too, just to add a little something else. So 1x2, that one's fine, I guess. I would have also accepted Pinocchio as well. And then we can just hop all the way over to here and begin work on the seating area, which actually starts by leaving a gap of 2 from in front of the counter, 1, 2, and then we place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spruce stairs, just like this. Then we leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, and place 2 more stairs like this. Now, in front of these stairs, we will place a spruce fence, and then spruce stairs on the opposite side with green carpet on top. However, with these ones, we want to place a spruce fence, gap, spruce fence, gap, spruce fence, and then a stair, and then the green carpet afterwards, just like so. And then on the side of the store, we are going to place a spruce stair here in this position, fence in front, stair, green concrete, and then either a stair here and a fence here, or you can have the reverse, it doesn't really matter, and then we can stick the green carpets on top. Now, in this corner of the building, actually right... where shall we place it? Right here, I think, is good. A terracotta with birch planks extending all the way up to the ceiling. A nice decorative pillar. And once we've done that on this side, we are going to head onto the opposite side of the build, and we will place a spruce stair here, fence here, stair here, carpet on top, green concrete, and then I guess we'll just copy the same orientation of the stair and the fence as the opposite side. And then here in this position we will have the terracotta and the birch plank stacked on top of it as a decorative pillar. Next, we can finally make use of this banner right here by placing it in front of the green concrete with a polished black stone pressure plate on top. We'll just do the same thing over here as well. And I have just thought about how it might look good to have one outside as well. Like right here in between the two tables. I think it might actually add a nice little bit of... yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't think there's room for one anywhere else unless we were to place it kind of like in front of the doorway, but I don't really want to, so I'm not going to. We are also just going to add some lanterns as well, some lights. The light's going to hang... shall we put them above the tables? Or at least, so... one will hang above this table here, which is a chain, lantern, and then spruce sides hanging around. I'm sorry guys, I know I keep reusing the same light design, but I can't find a better one, so I don't know what to say. So we'll place one above this table, one above this one here, and then one above this end one here, and that kind of like relatively evenly, if not perfectly evenly actually, separates us out some nice lights. So let's do that. And there we go. That is looking fantastic. Now, this is actually this half of the restaurant, or more than half actually. So now we are just going to grab this mirror banner here, and we are going to tackle the most important room in the entire building, the bathroom. So in here, we will place an upside down smooth quartz stair like this, with a spruce trapdoor on top. Stone button here, item frame here, white banner pointed down here. To the right, a flower pot. In this corner, 3 oak planks. The mirror banner here, item frame here, and then a stone stair here. And if you like, you can also stick a stone button like this. And this is just the simplest bathroom you have probably ever seen. Now that we've done the bathroom, we can head all the way over onto the opposite side of the build. Head into this room. This is the kitchen that has some... I don't think we need this row. We can exchange that for birch plank step 1. And then... so, first of all, we will place light grey concrete in front of this window with some item frames on top. We will stack some scaffolding to the left here and then stone buttons left of that. I am considering whether we should extend the terracotta across this back wall here and then follow suit with the birch to not only cover up the blast furnaces, but to kind of like add a bit more cohesion into this room. Then we can stack some chiseled bookshelves here, composter here. Then across this back wall, we want to place opposite the light grey concrete here, 2 light grey concrete, and then we'll just extend to the right by 1. Acacia slab here, bamboo pressure plate here, item frame here, a couple of spruce shelves here. When I was speaking earlier about possibly adding some detail to the back wall, I was thinking about adding some windows, or maybe just one window, like this. I don't think that... you know, I was going to say, I don't think that that makes any difference, but maybe it does look a little bit better, right? We could even use the polished black stone wall to split them, like this, and then just kind of leave them like that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I do think that that is an improvement, actually. Regardless, we can then stack some bread in these shelves here, iron salt here, green dye here, red dye here, or anything that you might think fits into these shelves. And then over here, I'm thinking just like a 1x1. Any 1x1 will do. And then in terms of lighting, if you want to add a light, you could just go for a lantern. Like this. Or you could add... Again, this is kind of like a more naturally feeling room. I was going to suggest maybe some sea lanterns or something like that. But I think that maybe even some spruce might look a little bit better. And there we go. With that final detail added, we have officially completed this tutorial. However, this video is not over. We must now add Panera Bread into our city. To the city. So initially, I was going to place it over here in the beige and brick retail park. But I think that it's kind of at max capacity. I think that the best place for it is all the way over here. Ultimately, I would like to make another retail park of some sort, and it can definitely be a part of that when we have enough built. But until then, you may be interested in becoming a channel member. You can click the join button that will be somewhere on the screen right now. This does cost money and is a monthly subscription, but you do get some perks. The first of which is a download link for my city design world. This has every single build that I have placed in my city, arranged in order, and labelled. This perk also comes with schematics for the mods Lightmatica and World Edit, so you can easily reference and copy and paste these builds into your worlds in any way that you'd like. However, if you're not interested in any of that building business, the highest tier allows you to download the most current version of Mini-City. There are also some minor perks, including loyalty badges displayed next to your name whenever you comment something down below on my videos. Depending on how long you have been a channel member, you gain a more prestigious helmet, with the highly coveted gold builder's hat being the most valuable. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.